today was a rather interesting day. I kind of learned more than I expected from somebody that I wanted to learn more about. Well, not necessarily them as a person, but their lifestyle and maybe their life choices a little bit. As you know by watching other videos on this channel, I'm not looking to be a motorcycle club member. I'm not looking to be an outlaw, a 1%er, whatever you want to call it. I just like to learn about those things because, you know, it's kind of cool. They like riding, I like riding, and it's always kind of cool to see the other side of the tracks, the good side and the dark side. And that actually happened today while I was at work. And that's what this video is going to be about. Now, I'm going to start off by reiterating that you don't have to be about something to learn about it. You don't have to be something to learn about it. Yeah, take that as you will. So, today at work, as you guys know, I am not working at the factory anymore. I am actually working at a lumber yard. I am working at a contractor's paradise. I keep stuff afloat in my city and other cities as well. Now, that's the beauty of my job, is because I get a lot of rather interesting people. You get a lot of high-powered people in the city. You get your Bruce Waynes, and of course, you get your Jokers. And now, there's this one gentleman who, very nice guy, I'm going to start off by saying. He is an older gentleman. He is, he's got a prosthetic leg, which I'll tell you about why in a minute. So, that's a key point. I'm just not throwing that out just to throw that out there. So, this older gentleman, I'd say he's like 65, anywhere between 65 and 70. He's, like I said, he's a very nice guy, always is very nice to me. Kind of I wouldn't say a take-no attitude, but he's kind of stern. Like, he knows what he wants, but he's not an asshole about it, which I can respect. Totally get that. I'm the same way. So, this is my second time only really dealing with this guy. He comes in maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks. Usually brings his dog. You know, cool guy. So, he comes up to me with this order sheet of what he wants, and he works with, I think it's like concrete, something like that. Maybe I think he just lays foundation for houses and buildings and whatnot. But he's his own man. So this older gentleman comes in today. I don't have his name, and well, honestly, if I had it, I wouldn't really release it to the public for his own privacy. But this guy comes in today and he flags me down and he's like, "Hey man, I got a couple things if you don't mind helping me grab them." It's like 80-pound bags of concrete mix, stuff like that, stuff for his job that he's doing. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no problem," because I actually recognize this dude. And like I said, last night he was real nice to me, real cool, because we get a lot of contractors that come into my job who are just asses. Oh my god. These guys think they sign your paychecks and they think that, like, they can talk to you any kind of way that they want. They're like one of those, "Well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have a job." It's like, dude, you don't sign my paychecks. I just supply you with the wood. If it wasn't for me, you'd be out of a job, brother. Come on now. Who are we kidding here? So, this is one of the nice guys. So he comes up to me, hands me his little order sheet. It was like 3 things, like 2 separate blocks, couple of each, and then a couple of concrete mix bags. And so I usually just shoot the stuff with the guy, and I noticed the hat he's wearing. He's wearing a ball cap, and it happens to be a insignia of a rather well-known in both the motorcycle club world and the criminal world of a 1%er motorcycle club that is not anywhere around me, but it's well known. If you live here, you know about them. They're just not from here. Out of respect for them, I'm not gonna, you know, release any club names or whatnot. So, in one of my former videos, I mentioned that I actually meet another one of these club members, and who runs this shop that hosts a bunch of, you know, they call it a death museum. Really cool place. And that was the same club that this guy was representing. And so obviously me loving motorcycles and having the like to learn about, you know, motorcycle clubs and outlaw clubs and support clubs, riding clubs, I asked him, I'm like, hey man, your hat, is that the same club that's based out of this place? And he's like, yeah, I'm an honorary member. And I'm like, oh, okay, what exactly does that mean? Because sometimes I know that different clubs have different statuses or meanings for honorary club member. You can be rightfully excommunicated, well, I wouldn't say excommunicated, but rightfully dismissed, for lack of a better term. You know, different reasons. But this was one of those reasons that he's been a club member for so long that he doesn't have to pay any dues. He's been there, he's like a Hall of Famer, so to speak. So, this guy's been around the block with just this club. And so he's explaining to me, you know, what he does and if he still rolls with them. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, hey, do you know that I met one of your other members through the Death Museum? And he's like, oh yeah, he starts telling me about him. And I'm like, okay, so me and this guy, we're really shooting the stuff. And I told him, I'm like, the only reason I asked is not because I'm looking to join a club or anything. It's just because I like to learn about them. I like to learn about, especially like within Michigan, you know, the clubs, who started where and why they aren't there anymore, or who's the dominant and who are the bad lads, who are the good guys, you know. And he says to me, he's like, kid, don't even think about it. I'm like, what do you mean don't even think about it? He's like, don't you even think about joining a club. And I'm like, with all due respect, I don't plan to, and nor do I want to. I just like to learn about them. And he's like, good, keep it that way. And like, in my head, I'm like, is this guy just trying to be a dick to me after all this time? Because like, maybe I'm just thinking a little selfishly here. But I'm like, but the way he kind of says it with his body language is he's like, he's giving me a warning to not join any motorcycle clubs, at least around here. So continuing on with my story and to kind of back up that statement, he says to me, you need to understand one thing if you even think about joining a club. It's not good on your old lady if you have one. Your brothers will rat you out for a price of coffee. And I'm like, I just kind of shrugged my shoulders because I didn't really know what to say to that, because I'm like, you know, yeah, being a rat is kind of a big problem within quote-unquote gangland around here. And because like I said, I don't affiliate with a club, I don't gangbang, I just, you know, I stick to my own. I have the riders crew. We're not a gang, we're not a club, we're just a group of guys who like to ride and help out people and earn a honest, healthy living, clocking in our 9-to-5s and riding motorcycles. Nothing wrong with that, right? And I explained that to him, and he's like, well, who do you ride with? And I'm like, I just ride with some people that that have eaten at my family dinner table with my parents. And you know, I've ridden with their parents, or not ridden, but like eaten with their parents. And he's like, good, don't ever change that. And I'm like, I don't plan to. And he's like, good, do not change that, because like I just said before, your quote-unquote brothers will rat you out for a plea deal or a price of coffee. He's like, I lost it was like 6 or 7 years that he spent in prison because his brothers ratted on him and had him raided over a beef with another dominant club that was in Michigan, and he ended up losing his leg. He was explaining that to me, and how a lot of the stuff that you see on TV isn't necessarily 100% real, but it's not 100% phony either. So I was, I was really intrigued with what this guy was saying, because like he wasn't necessarily being like, you really kind of shouldn't. He was being like, you really should not. Do not do it. He wasn't being a jerk about it. He was being really stern though, because like I think he just kind of took it as a, hey, in case you're thinking about it, let me try to convince you, don't. So I really kind of soaked in what this guy was saying, because he was dropping a lot of knowledge on me, because he's like ever since the like 80s and 90s, maybe even into the mid 2000s, you would have been fine to join a club like ours. And he's like, well, nowadays when it goes down, these, you know, these bad lads and whatnot, they wouldn't be able to handle the pressure. The patch wouldn't hold up. The patch would just be thrown down and everybody was like, hey, you're on your own. When it goes down, the Brotherhood isn't there. And I'm like, really? I'm like, because at least from what I've learned, or at least I've been told, is that Brotherhood is such a big thing within motorcycle clubs, and I don't doubt that it is in certain areas, but maybe just not where he's from. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and say that one aspect of a motorcycle club around here, or just motorcycle clubs in general, are lacking in some aspects, because I don't know. I'm not a part of a club. I just like to research about them and then learn firsthand from actual members, and especially from guys like this one, because he's been around the block. He's been to jail, been to prison, been on trial, and, you know, went to war with other, you know, outlaw clubs, and, you know, he had a lot of knowledge to drop on me in like the 10 minutes we were talking. And, you know, that was one of my best ways to completely do nothing at my job, is to talk with somebody and actually learn a lot about something you like to learn about, so to speak. And it was actually really cool to talk to this guy. And it kind of ended on a rather funny note, because one club that I've talked to, that me and Miss Esoteric know a few members of, because they're nice guys and whatnot, I come to realize that they're not taken very seriously, even though they've been around for 40, 50 years, at least around here. They've got multiple chapters within my state. And, you know, I mentioned that because I told him, I'm like, hey, he was talking about patch flying. And he's like, whatever you do, just don't put a Michigan or any kind of city rocker on. Just don't do that. Don't fly any big dominant colors with any kind of logos. Don't get one of those you find off quote unquote effing eBay and go around wearing that thinking you're a badass. And I'm like, well, from my research, that only leads to two places: the morgue and the cemetery. And he's like, exactly. So glad to see a young rider like you is up to date. And I'm like, right. I'm like, I can't stand that. I can't stand, you know, people who just don't even so much as dress right for the ride. I mean, I don't necessarily have all the room in the world to talk, because, like, where are my sleeves? Where's my big leather jacket? Where's my my riding pants? I don't know, something stupid somebody's gonna point out in the comment. I really soaked in what this guy was saying, because he was very knowledgeable and stern, because, like, you believed what he was saying. He didn't have a lot to say, but what he did say, it was very you know, very, very knowledgeable, very informative. But he was just you know, kind of gave you the 1-2, the 411 about, you know, hey, don't fly any kind of gang colors, don't do anything stupid, and just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride with your crew and just have fun. Don't get involved in a gang, don't get involved in a club, don't get involved with drugs, don't do that, don't start laundering money. And I'm like, yeah, I feel you on that. And so, speaking of the patches, he's like, we don't fly this certain patch because of one reason or another. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, I know there's one club that flies this patch, and that's the only people that I've seen do it. And when I mentioned that club's name, I have never seen an old man laugh so hard that his dentures almost fall out of his mouth. He literally, as God is my witness, as you're watching this YouTube video right now, I mentioned this club's name and he just starts laughing his old ass off. And he goes, I'll talk to you another time. You can get back to work. And he just starts walking away. I'm like, did I just offend this guy? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm just telling him that, like, this one club flies those patches. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm like, did I just, like, speak out a term? I'm like, did I just accidentally say something that I wasn't supposed to, that I absolutely have no idea about? And I'm just kind of like, eek, uh-oh, I may have just said something, but I mean, I didn't say anything that nobody didn't already know. But, I mean, I don't know. Nobody's really got anything to worry about, because I think the guy just really took it as a joke. I'm like, man, that was rather informative. Like, I've learned more in that 10 minutes of talking to that guy than I have watching hours of like documentaries and YouTube videos of like outlaw clubs and motorcycle clubs and protocol and stuff like that. And even I actually learned a lot from this guy. Really, really cool. I hope to see that guy again soon, because he has an adorable dog and it looks like Scooby-Doo, but if he was the size of Scrappy-Doo with the long ears, bruh, cute dog. But yeah, that was a rather interesting conversation I had with that older gentleman, and real nice guy for being a badass in his time. So that's how I knew that this guy wasn't really the one to you know, tell tales or really be you know, kind of the pushover kind, because you can tell what he was saying. My man knew about what he was talking about, and he wasn't going to repeat himself, and I respect that for him. I respect that for him, and I respect that for really anybody that's got knowledge to pass on instead of just being an ass about things. So I guess you could say I was pretty much warned to do not join a motorcycle club. Do not even think about forming one. Do not even think about it. If you're gonna fly a back patch, make it completely custom that has absolutely nothing to do with anybody but yourself. And that's about the only time that I would do that. I wouldn't fly 3 pieces. I wouldn't fly anything that's like red and white, or I don't know, insert gang color here. I would not, you know, I wouldn't mess with that with a 10-foot pole. And being told by that gentleman who has been a part of that life, who was really about that life and has the missing leg to prove it, I think I should probably listen to that guy. And so I think I will. Not that I wasn't going to listen to anybody else that told me before him, who literally told me the same thing. Do not join, do not form, just stick to your own and you will be safe and you will be fine. You know, hey, I think that's way more than enough of a reason to say, hey, don't do that. So now I'm filling you guys in on that information about what this guy said to me. So in case you guys are thinking about it, if you're around the area that I am, if you're around, you know, Dominance or, I don't know, big name clubs that wouldn't really take no crap that you hear about on the news a lot, you probably shouldn't step on their territory, even if you think that you have a blessing or not. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel where you find more content like this, other stuff on this beautiful Honda Fury, these beautiful days around here, these beautiful motorcycles, and these beautiful motor vlogs. Everything's just beautiful around here. I have nothing to complain about. By the time this video will be uploaded, I will be in Atlanta, Georgia, being a complete nerd at the Southern Fried Gaming Convention. And now, hold on, wait. You're probably sitting there thinking, you're sitting here telling me about why I shouldn't join a motorcycle club. Brother, I ride a Harley Davidson, and I'm not going to let some video game playing nerd tell me what to do. Well, okay, if you think that way, then by all means, you can completely disregard what I said. But at least I hope you enjoyed the video. Whoa, jeez, I hate that bump. I really hate that bump because that's like right at the apex at this corner. God, I hate that. Anyway, the Fury handle's fine. Don't worry. Don't doubt it for a second. But as normal, support your local veteran, and when you ride, be safe and ride free. Peace out.